Welcome to my live. How's it going, everybody? How's everybody doing on this Monday morning? Monday morning. I think I'm going the right way. Nope, not going the right way. All right. Sorry. Monday morning. Let's see. What day is it today? Monday morning, and we are out and about checking on a claim for some water damage that occurred with a toilet overflow. That was one of my first claims of the day. And these are tricky because when you have toilet water that overflows, then it is considered unclean as far as the water is concerned. So any place that the water touches, now you have to replace all the product that water touches. Now, I don't totally agree with that. Because there are lots of sanitizers and cleansers, and not to mention countless of other people that don't tear out everything when their toilet overflows, and people don't get sick in the house. They use a cleaner and clean up all the, pee or poo or whatever overflows. Hey, Jaden, how's it going? Morning. Very good. You're working in the field like yourself. Very cool. Nice. Yeah, well, thanks for joining. I appreciate your support. Yeah, it's kind of fun thinking that there's other people out there doing exactly what I'm doing too, and we're out there, hitting the grind. But no, I'm doing a toilet overflow and just kind of bothered by the fact that we have to replace every single piece of material that this water touches, because it's just not a normal, not the normal thing that an everyday person would do. And I know there's some liability there, and that's probably why they do it, because if the remediation company comes out there and doesn't tear out everything, then I get it. There could be some liability there. But it just seems like overkill, and we're overpaying for things that we probably shouldn't be doing. Because a typical person, I mean, if you're at home and your toilet overflows, you don't call a mitigation company and say, oh my goodness, the water touched my vinyl flooring. And, it's just not done. I mean, they don't tear out every single thing because water touches it. But I get it. Baseboard got swollen. Didn't touch the cabinet, which was good. But it did go into the closet, the baseboard in the closet, the carpet, the pad, and then leaked downstairs. And we got a pretty big area downstairs, about 64 square feet of water damage to the drywall. 5 LED lights, but no damage to flooring or anything else as far as the kitchen goes downstairs. So it's not a really big claim, meaning it's not a whole lot of work. I did have to measure the entire downstairs because the ceilings were continuous. So you're drawing the whole entire downstairs floor plan. And then you're drawing the master bathroom and the master closet. So yeah, a little sketch work, no big deal though. But it does add to the work when all you're doing is basically doing a drywall repair on the roof and painting all the ceilings for the repair. So yeah, that was my claim for today. Very quiet day today. Monday is normally busier, but today Monday was quiet, and that happens sometimes. But it was interesting. There was a contractor there, and I was surprised because he didn't take out anything. And he said that for several jobs that he's been having, he's been running into problems with the insurance company wanting to pay for his tear out. And I'm like, on a toilet claim? I said, it should have no issues paying you on toilet water being, damaged. And he goes, well, the problem was, the insured never took any photos of the water on the floor, or the poop on the floor, or the toilet paper, or anything. I didn't take any photos. And the reason why is that it was the mother that was babysitting the 2 children, and so it wasn't the insured that was home. So she didn't think to take a video or photos of anything. She just cleaned it up. So the downside is the contractor didn't have any, clear-cut photos or proof of damage to justify tearing out all this damaged stuff. So he's waiting for me. So I totally get it. He was trying to be careful because he's run into problems. He said that he's had with arguments between the insureds and himself when the insurance company doesn't pay for his tear out. And so he wanted to be really careful going forward that he makes sure that we have an agreement with me when I first get out there that, that this tear out would be included. So I mean, things are changing. Let me clean my screen here. My camera's a little dirty, just a little dirty. Sorry about that. But I can understand his paranoia because things are changing in the insurance world. Every day it seems like things change and policies change and what they're paying, what they're not changes. Sometimes they're more lenient, sometimes they're not. And I think people are becoming a little more careful, especially on the remediation side, to make sure they get paid. And I get it. So a bunch of people in here, you guys tap on the screen for a like, and also put a 1 in the chat if you guys are an adjuster, 2 if you're not an adjuster. I would love to know the breakdown of the people watching this stream. If you are an adjuster, put a 1. If you're not an adjuster, put a 2. I would love to see what you guys are doing. Hey, Asadia, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Good morning. All right, Chris, you're not? All right, fantastic. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you watching. Sadia, very good. I knew that. Very good. Donald, very cool. Nice to meet you. And very glad I've got some adjusters here watching, as well as not adjusters. So 1 if you are an adjuster, 2 if you're not an adjuster. Love to see who's watching. Corey, I know you, man. Thanks for joining me. Thank you. Thanks for joining me, guys. Yes, it is a great morning. I like the mornings because the sun is shining. And as long as the sun is shining, I'm a happy man. If it's raining, I may not do a live stream. Because that's not my forte. I don't say I get depressed. I just don't have like the most happiest thoughts when it's raining. I told everybody I know, I say, and you guys are here too, it could rain every night. Every night while I go to sleep, hey, start the rain. But when I wake up in the morning, it better be nice and dry. All right, let me take a look. I sell insurance policies with an independent marketing organization and commercial PLC policies. Bought a pre-licensing on adjusters last month. Haven't tested. All right, cool. Welcome. Well, that's really cool. I didn't know that, Jaden. Hey, there's lots of different jobs with insurance, so it's so cool. Very cool. Yeah, so man, you probably got policy knowledge at the wazoo for us. Way better when you start selling policies. All right, yeah. So I was just actually having a conversation with the contractor on this last one I was on, because he said that he's felt like the conversation between the insureds and policies are not happening. Agents, basically, they're renewing or setting up policies without ever sitting down and talking to the insureds and explaining their policies. So the sad part of that is that they are being surprised when it comes around to coverages that they're not covered for certain things, and things that they thought they should be covered for. And he says he missed the days when agents would specifically sit down, have that conversation with you when you signed up a new policy, and explain all the potentials and discuss possible endorsements that you could add to your policy so that you would know if you were covered or not. And I remember those days. I remember when I signed up for a new house policy, we did sit down with the agent. I remember that. So it's not too far out of the past, but I think it needs to be done more, because too much stuff is being done online where they just say, hey, I'll send you the policy and you sign it. And no one's going to read that 35-page policy. So then the surprises happen when they take a claim. It happens. So a new development, I don't know if I told you guys this claim, I think I did. One of my live streams, I don't know who was here, but sometimes you'll get stuff come back from when you do inspections, and there's a little more work that they want to have done. It could be supplements, it could be they got a contractor's estimate that's like 3 times the estimate I wrote, stuff like that. Well, this one, I remember guys telling you about this. Maybe I didn't tell you. Anyways, I did a vandalism claim. Okay, so I did tell you about the vandalism claim, but I didn't tell you what happened the other day is that the insured opened 4 more claims for individual damages in that house. And reason why is because when I went around originally, it was a rental property and the tenant was just, smashing up the place. Nothing malicious. It was more of just, they were a rough tenant. And as I was going through and documenting all the loss for this vandalism claim, I told the guy, I said, vandalism normally occurs when somebody steals the property that is in the house, meaning they steal all the light fixtures, the appliances, anything that's not fastened down, they would have taken. And also, pulled electrical out of the ceiling, from light fixtures, or ripped handrails off the walls, toilet paper holders, everything. Just would have broken, pulled off the pedestal sink. That's, ripped doors off, cabinet doors, all this. They would have done some major, major damage in that house if it was vandalism. I tried to explain that to the insured because, they had a dog, and the dog tore up a few things in the house, tore up some screens in the back, and tried to dig a hole in the living room. And I'm talking just a bunch of scratches in one spot on the floor. Yes, he did damage to the floors, but I don't think it was a malicious act of this dog. It's just being a dog. And so I told the guy, I said, they had a leak in the toilet that had been long-term, forever and ever, was leaking, and the insured, or the tenant, never told the insured, and the insured was not visiting the house, so they had no idea that all this stuff was going on. And so when I get out there, I just told the guy, I said, I hate to say this, but I have a feeling that most of this is going to fall under your rental policy, which is just wear and tear and rough rental property behavior. And anyway, so I get this notification. We had 4 more claims in the file, and this guy opened it up for a claim for animal damage, a claim for physical damage, a claim for water damage, and a claim for animal damage. So four separate claims additional to the vandalism claim. And so when I was writing the claim, I talked to the desk adjuster, and they just said, just go on out and inspect these. Call. Hey, am I back? Sorry, guys. I got a phone call and it kind of stopped my live for some reason. Anyway, so I got a call, or basically they said rewrite the next 4 estimates for damages caused to each specific cause of loss and turn it in, and you don't have to re-inspect. So I was pretty excited about that because I'm going to get paid to write each one of these additional claims. So I spent, it took a while because I had to go through, the 100 photos that I took and relabel them all based on the loss, saying this one's not related to this loss, change the names of, the little bit of details that are in it, and make them specific to each cause of loss, and then rewrite the report. So I got all that turned in. Well, today, the desk adjuster writes me back or leaves me a message and says, we want you to unfortunately go out and revisit the houses for each of these claims. Obviously not a different inspection for each one, but we want you to revisit the claim and then go out and meet the engineer. And I was like, what? I was like, an engineer? What the heck is he going to look for? It's like, he's going to make a determination for what exactly? An engineer is supposed to go out there and inspect a roof for potential discrepancy in like our hail determination or our wind determination. But what is an engineer going to determine inside the house for wear and tear damages on the carpet and holes in the wall from just banging around and water damage from cabinet? I'm like, maybe the water damage, potentially he could be like, maybe, he needs to tear out something to see if there's any structural damage, but still it's not covered because it's long-term wear and tear, and that's an exclusion on this insurance policy for this carrier. So now this thing's turning into a headache claim where now I'm having to go back and revisit this this claim. So it's but an engineer now. Oh, and it's all because the owner's broke. He doesn't have any money to fix the house, and it's a mess. So let's see, it's about to be the easiest engineering money. Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, these guys make like $2,000 to go out and do these, and all they do is basically confirm what we said already. But you know what is probably happening is there's a clause in the insurance policy that allows an engineer to go out. Now, the insured can ask for an engineer, and that's all they're doing. Is this guy's got an appraisal clause or an argument type clause because he doesn't like the answers. So what happened was 2 days ago I turned all the results in, and he probably got notification of the denial and the denial for all 5 claims, and he's arguing it now. So now we got an engineer, and the engineer's not going to do anything. So it's the stupidest thing. But why the insurance company wants to even go that route with this and have to pay that money? They should say, insured, go get an engineer yourself and prove to us that there's something here to look at, instead of focusing on, because what's going to happen is this idiot's going to, well, not idiot, but this guy's going to make the insurance company pay for this engineer. It's going to make the rates of all of the rest of us go up because they got to cover the cost. This insurance company is not going to eat that cost. They're going to pass it on. They're already going to drop this guy. 5 claims in 1 month, they're going to drop him in a heartbeat because he's trouble. So as soon as all these claims close, they're going to drop him as faster than anything. They're going to say he's high risk and they want him out. So they'll take care of that, but that's not going to get the money back that the insurance company is having to pay for this engineer. So they're going to raise the rates of a bunch of people in order to cover it, and which is sad. So so true, exhausting the resources available to them. Yeah, and he's whining. I mean, he already told me he's $15,000 behind in rent. And I asked him, I said, how do you get behind in almost an entire year of rent? I said, why did you wait that long? And he goes, well, she kept making excuses and saying she was going to pay. And she'd been a 2-year tenant prior to that, and she was really good, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, okay, well then why didn't you notice that they had a dog in the house? I said, how often were you visiting? He goes, well, every time I tried to visit the house, she made an excuse of why I couldn't come in. And I'm like, this is your house. I said, you should have had a clause in your rental policy, your rental agreement, that says I am able to come into this house at any time, unannounced, if I need be, to check on the house once a month. That's my house. You're renting it. I want to make sure you're taking care of it. And he would have noticed the water leaking in the bathroom, the bucket underneath the valve. Even if it had leaked for a month, he would have caught it before it was like 6 months old and rotting everything. He then would have seen the dog. He would have seen all the fence damage that was starting, the screen damage on the back of the house. He would have seen all this damage that was being caused by the dog. Not to mention, he could then charge a pet deposit and say, we didn't agree to any animals and you're violating the rent policy, so I can kick you out now, or you can pay the pet deposit. And then he could have charged a $1,000 pet deposit because she had 3 animals, and that person would have either moved out or they would have got rid of the pets. So a lot of this is his own fault. And now we're getting in a situation where he told me He said, I don't have money for the rent. Sorry, the calls keep coming in. It's probably this silly desk adjuster keep calling me. So he doesn't have money for the rent, like to reimburse himself, I guess, because he's $15,000 behind. So he's obviously been doing some way of, you know, whether it's out of his savings or on credit or whatever, or borrowed money, who knows, to pay it. And he doesn't have the money to fix the house because the house is destroyed. He can't rent it like that. He's got to paint the whole thing. I mean, she was even smoking it, like in the master bedroom and the master bathroom, but that's not covered. There's no coverage in a rental policy for somebody who smoked. But if he had been a diligent tenant or landlord, he would have been walking in there. He would have smelt the smoke. He would immediately evicted her at that point, or told her, you know, that you can't smoke, and then, you know, charge her, you know, additional fees for the fact that she was smoking in the house. But I feel bad for him. But then again, this is his first rental, and he's having to learn the hard lessons of having a bad renter. And it's not a good area, and so he probably had cheap rent for a cheap house. Well, actually, it wasn't a cheap house, pretty decent house, but he just was probably undercharging the rent because he was trying to make sure he got somebody in there. I don't know if he did his due diligence to check on her as far as background check and see if she'd ever not paid rent in another place that she'd been renting. I mean, that's very important for somebody to check on that. Yeah, I totally agree that it's his fault, Jaden. Absolutely. And here's the thing. Being a landlord, you are taking enormous risk to rent your place. And this is why what I tell people, I say, you have to vet these people. You have to try to own a property in the nicest area possible and rent at the highest level of renting that you can. And the best thing to do is to get into some property management companies and ask for referrals, like, or talk to real estate agents and say, I would like a corporate rental. I would like a business rental. Anybody you have that's looking for a short-term business rental property, I'd be more than happy to offer my place. And then you come in, and let's say your bills are $1,100 a month or something to pay for everything that you need. You charge $2,000 for the corporate rental. And that'll get you enough money every month to easily pay to repaint or touch up rooms or whatever. But half the time, these corporate rental guys, they're barely in the house. They're only looking for a place to sleep. You can furnish the place. Cheap furniture from IKEA, whatever. Make it kind of like an Airbnb. And you can make it a furnished rental for business clients only. And that's for people who have flown into town. They've got a couple kids. They want to bring their family with them. They're checking out a new office, potentially moving to the area, and they're looking for a 1-month rental so they can check out the area. And business rentals are $2,500, $3,000, and the companies will pay that in a heartbeat, in a minute. And your rent may only be, or your mortgage may only be $1,100, but they'll pay $3,000 for the convenience of having a corporate rental for 1 month. And the company's paying it, they're not paying it. The company's putting it up, and they're more than happy to do it. So you can make a ton of money with the best clientele, having large deposits setting up, so if they walk away with anything or steal anything, you got yourself covered for that, and the corporate people will pay it. So, you know, for a tenant to rent a property in a bad side of town, as cheap as they can get it in there, and wonder why they have problems later, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, you're right, Asadia. I mean, it's just a world of hurt if you're doing things foolishly and not taking pride in your house. And here's the thing, the guy even told me he wasn't checking on the house. I said, well, you live locally, right? And he goes, oh yeah. I'm like, dude, if she was making excuses for you not allowing you to come into the house, and obviously there was something wrong, you know, she gives you an excuse one day, you set the appointment up for 2 days later, not a month later, 2 days later, and say, I'm coming in on this day, I have a key to the property, I would like it if you were there, But if you're not, I'm still coming in. Guess what? Magically, those dogs are probably going to disappear. They're not going to be there for her inspection, but you will see the damage. And you'll be able to walk around the house and you'll see all the screens damaged, you'll see the floor damaged, and you'll say, ma'am, it looks like you have a dog in the house. I will be violating your lease agreement unless you pay your pet deposit. You'll be out of, you will no longer be able to stay here as of this month. I would be a hardball tenant, big time. I'd start the eviction process that day. And I say, if you come up with a pet deposit, I will remove the eviction process and we'll cancel that process. But you are breaking the rules of my lease agreement here by having this dog. And then you would catch the water. Water happens, you know, within a month or less. You know, if you're visiting there once a month, you're going to catch the next leak. You go around and feel the bottom of this water supply lines, feel the bottom of the toilets, see if there's anything dripping. Get under the kitchen sink, feel any of those valves, see if anything's dripping. If it is, bam, you're in there fixing it. You're taking care of your property. Oh, this lady, she tore off the kitchen sink and was using, and tore off the spigot was not working. So she tore off the end of the spray nozzle on the sink and was using the hose as the water source. The guy would have seen this, you know, if he'd gone in there and said, why'd you rip off the handle to the spray nozzle? Oh, well, the sink's not working. Well, why didn't you call me on that? You know, unfortunately, I'm going to charge you $50 to fix that because you broke it. And you keep track of that. And next month you say, hey, I want $50 for that or I'll evict you. Your rent is now $50 higher. These are things that you could be doing to prevent bad renters. And you just say, hey, I'm in business. You're not going to tear my house if you're renting my house. You're renting my house. You're telling me you're going to take care of this. And if you start not taking care of it, then I'm going to kick you out. Or I'm going to charge you more rent. And you'll be surprised how fast either they'll move out or they'll start taking care of your place really fast. And, you know, so when bad things happen to tenants, I feel sorry for their ignorance. But they are getting everything they deserve if they're not willing to see this house as a very valuable asset that they need to take care of. So that's just me, but I think it's really important. Well, guys, short drive home, but thanks for joining me on this live. Really appreciate you guys. You're very faithful stewards of watching my lives. So I only have one claim tomorrow, but hopefully I'll have more. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Monday. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Take care of yourself.